Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something wasn't right? No one said anything cruel, no tension in their voice, no reason to feel uneasy. And yet, you do. It's like your body knows something your mind hasn't yet named. A silence that's too cold, a smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes. You tell yourself you're overthinking. But are you? Evil doesn't always wear the face you expect. It rarely shows up snarling or shouting. Often it whispers, watches, waits. It wears politeness like a costume. It shakes your hand while slowly tightening the noose of control. The most dangerous people aren't the ones who scream. They're the ones who slowly chip away at your sense of reality, your boundaries, your inner calm. And they do it quietly, almost elegantly. Stoic philosophy teaches us that virtue is clarity, clarity of thought, of values, of relationships. So when that clarity is clouded by someone's presence, it's not something to ignore. There are quiet signs, subtle patterns, and if you know what to look for, you'll see them. Early, clearly, and without apology. This is not about paranoia, it's about discernment. It's about protecting your peace before it's stolen. And more importantly, it's about honoring your instincts, the ones we so often silence in the name of being reasonable. So let's begin. Here are 6 quiet signs someone is not who they seem. They may never raise their voice, but the damage they cause speaks volumes. They make you feel like you owe them, but you can't explain why. It starts small, a favor here, a generous gesture there. They offer help before you ask. They listen intently, always available when you need to vent. You find yourself thinking, they're such a good person, but soon that kindness begins to feel heavier. There's an expectation, unspoken, but thick in the air. You sense it when you say no. When you pull back, their smile tightens, their warmth fades. Suddenly, it's cold, distant, calculated. They don't ask for repayment, they just let you feel guilty. You start adjusting your schedule to avoid disappointing them. You give more than you want to, not out of love, but to escape the weight of invisible debt. True generosity comes with no strings. But with these people, every good deed is a setup. Every gesture is a deposit into a future you never agreed to. Stoicism teaches us to act from virtue, not from obligation or fear. A relationship that drains your freedom is not a relationship. It's a transaction disguised as care. Ask yourself, do you feel lighter or heavier after spending time with them? Are your choices still your own? Or have they slowly started revolving around their moods, their wants, their disappointments? When someone gives in order to gain control, that's not love, that's leverage. Pay attention, not to what they give, but to what they take. Quietly, repeatedly, without ever asking out loud. They always remember what hurts you and forget what heals you. There's something unsettling about how precisely they recall your wounds. That one time you broke down, the fear you confessed in a quiet moment, the weakness you trusted them with. They remember it all, and not with empathy, with calculation. In an argument, they bring it up, not to connect, but to cut. Their words are sharp, selective. They dig into your past, not to understand you, but to control you. But when it comes to what matters to you, your dreams, your values, the things that bring you peace, suddenly their memory fails. They forget your boundaries, dismiss your goals, overlook your victories. A stoic mind guards its attention. It notices patterns. And in this case, the pattern is clear. They retain what weakens you. They discard what strengthens you. This kind of person doesn't attack openly. They chip away from within. They weaponize vulnerability, slowly, subtly, until you start hesitating to share it all. You begin shrinking, speaking less, editing yourself. Not because you're unsure of your truth, but because you've learned your truth will be used against you. Be wary of those who always recall your failures, but never your strength. Those who smile when you fall, but stay silent when you rise. You deserve relationships where your pain is not ammunition, where your joy is remembered just as vividly as your struggles. If someone consistently forgets what uplifts you and preserves what breaks you, they are not forgetful, they are deliberate. They speak peace, but stir unease. At first glance, they seem calm, composed, even wise. Their words are gentle, their tone measured. They never shout, They never accuse. But somehow, after every conversation, you leave feeling unsettled. It's not what they say, it's what they don't say. The pause before a compliment, the subtle shift in tone when you share good news, the way their eyes narrow just slightly when you speak with confidence. They lace their silence with judgment. They offer support that feels hollow. Their presence is like a room where the windows are closed, quiet but suffocating. Stoicism teaches us to value composure, but composure is not the same as care. Stillness is not always serenity. Sometimes it's strategy. These people master the art of passive control. They make you second-guess your joy. They respond to your vulnerability with stillness, not because they're reflecting, but because they're calculating. You try harder to earn their approval. You work to fill the silence, to fix a tension they never admit exists. But the truth is, that tension was planted. People who value harmony don't leave you in emotional fog. They bring clarity, not confusion. Warmth, not withdrawal. When you feel consistently anxious around someone who rarely says anything harmful, pay attention to what your body is telling you. Because manipulation doesn't always come with raised voices. Sometimes it comes with soft smiles and a chilling stillness behind the eyes. They twist your compassion into a weapon against you. You care. That's your nature. You forgive quickly. You give second chances. You believe in people, even when they've given you every reason not to. They see that, and they use it. Not all evil comes in cruelty. Some of it wears the mask of helplessness. They tell you they're broken, that no one else understands them like you do. They make you feel chosen, needed, like their salvation rests in your hands. And so you stay, you comfort, you excuse. But every apology leads to another wound. Every promise to change is followed by the same pattern. They pull you back with sorrow, with tears, with carefully crafted stories of past pain. And the moment you set a boundary, they crumble. I thought you cared. You're just like everyone else. Now you're the villain, not for harming them, but for protecting yourself. Stoicism teaches us that pity is not virtue. Compassion must be tempered by wisdom. If your kindness becomes a leash, if your empathy becomes a cage, that is not a flaw in you. It is a strategy in them. Ask yourself, are you helping them grow or simply enabling their damage? Are you staying out of love or out of guilt? Some people don't want healing. They want an audience. And the more you sacrifice, the more they expect. Never satisfied, never changed, only fed. You are not cruel for stepping away from someone who thrives on your mercy. You are not cold for choosing peace over chaos masked as vulnerability. True pain invites healing. False pain demands submission. Know the difference and walk away when compassion becomes your chain. They isolate you without ever asking you to be alone. They never say, don't see your friends. They never forbid you from talking to others. Instead, they plant subtle doubts, quiet suggestions, tiny seeds of mistrust that take root before you even notice. It's just strange how she talks about you when you're not around. I don't think he really understands you like I do. I just get a bad feeling from them, but maybe it's nothing. You think you're making your own decisions, but slowly your world gets smaller. You stop reaching out as much. You question long-standing bonds. You begin to feel like only one person truly gets you, them. And that's exactly where they want you. A Stoic understands that we are social creatures, meant to live in alignment with others, not under their shadow. But an evil person doesn't want community around you. They want control. And the fewer people you trust, the easier that becomes. They don't just isolate you physically. They isolate you emotionally, convincing you that no one else cares as deeply, sees as clearly, or loves as purely as they do. And when you try to step away, you realize you have nowhere to go, no one left to turn to, because the bridge wasn't burned, it was quietly dismantled, one brick at a time, while you watched and believed they were protecting you. Ask yourself, who have you stopped talking to since this person came into your life? What relationships have slowly withered without explanation? When someone limits your circle without ever raising their voice, that is not concern. That is quiet domination, and it is one of the clearest signs of hidden harm. They never feel remorse, only inconvenience. When they hurt you, it's never about what they did. It's about how you reacted. You're too sensitive. I didn't mean it like that. You always twist my words. They don't say sorry because they understand the damage. They say it to make you move on faster, to reset the stage so they can do it again. Pay attention to how they respond when they're wrong, not just once, consistently. A truly remorseful person reflects. They ask how you feel. They care about the impact. They don't need to be chased into apology. It comes naturally from the weight of their own conscience. But for someone without empathy, an apology is a strategy, a momentary surrender to regain control. They apologize not out of guilt, but because silence from you makes them uncomfortable. They don't regret the wound. They regret the consequence. Stoicism teaches us to own our actions, to face ourselves with brutal honesty, even when it's hard. But someone who refuses to do that, who always spins the story back to you, is not seeking truth. They're seeking power. If every disagreement ends with you feeling guilty, if every moment of pain is turned into your overreaction, you are not in a relationship. You are in a loop, one designed to wear you down. You don't need people who apologize with their mouths and not their hearts. You need people who notice when they hurt you and genuinely want to make it right. Because at the end of the day, a person who never feels guilt will never stop causing harm. You won't always see it coming. Evil doesn't wear horns. It doesn't announce itself with a scream. It blends in, smiles at you, holds the door open. It hides in kindness, in sympathy, in the quiet moments where your guard is down. But Stoicism reminds us, the greatest protection is not suspicion, it's clarity. Clarity of thought, of instinct, of boundaries. Because once you recognize the quiet signs, the weight in the room, the erosion of your confidence, the way you feel smaller, less sure, more alone, you can choose. You can choose to step back, to no longer explain away what your body has already sensed, to trust yourself, even when they call it selfish, to walk away, even when they beg you to stay. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming clear. Not everyone who enters your life deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone who offers their hand deserves your trust. You owe no loyalty to manipulation, no explanation to deceit, and no compassion to those who poison yours. Your peace, your inner stillness, is not a luxury. It's your anchor, your compass, your strength. So hold it close, guard it without apology. And remember, you don't need to raise your voice to walk away. Sometimes the quietest exit is the loudest declaration of self-respect.